Hey everybody, welcome back to the 169th episode of Taps of Patience. I'm AJ with Subtract Manufacturing and Audacity Micro, here with Harrison of Precision Ingenuity. Hi Harrison, how you doing?
Hey AJ, how we doing?
That's literally what I just said. That was my line.
I know. That was your line.
You can't steal my line.
I'm doing good. Trying to kind of get back on a normal schedule after a little bit of vacation, and this week has been good so far. We're a little later in the week than normal. So,
Yep.
What about you?
I'm doing all right. I'm kind of in a teaching mode, but I also frantically made some parts over the weekend. But before we get too far into it, I want to make an announcement before I forget. IMTS meetup Tuesday at the Tormach booth. I think I've been forgetting to say that for a number of episodes, but don't forget about that meetup.
Do you know if they're going to have anything cool this year? Have they been working on anything in the background?
I have no insider information in Tormach, unfortunately. So everything that I've known about ahead of time has come to pass.
So they might not have anything new this year.
Yeah, so is it Tuesday the 15th or Tuesday the 8th? I think it's Tuesday the 15th.
15th.
Okay. Yeah, so Tuesday 15th, 2 p.m., Tormach booth. We will have our meetup. I'm sorry I haven't done a good job of advertising that lately, but in my defense, I forget about it.
Yep.
A good reminder is bring a part to talk about. So machinists love to look at parts, and it's a great way to start a conversation. So if you're, worried about striking up conversations, you bring a part, that will absolutely not be an issue. Sorry, I'm coughing all of a sudden. I'm pulling a Jamie. I will be at IMTS, I think, basically the whole time. I might burn out and leave a little bit early, but I'm going to be there from gates open on Monday until I die, basically, until I get so worn out that I'm, just tired and want to go home. Jacob will be there with me for at least a bunch of it. He's coming down a little bit before the show even, and he's gonna drive up to Chicago with me. I haven't talked to other Jacob, but I should see if he wants to go. So, Jamie and our rival podcast is having their meetup on Monday, by the way. I don't remember the details on that one off the top of my head, but with the what is their podcast? I never remember. The Lone Machinists. The Lone Machinists. They're machinists. They're doing a meetup on Monday. We have a meetup on Tuesday. With Intolerance is confirmed to be Wednesday.
Where's the Lone Machinist meeting?
I assume it's at the G28.io booth. Man, I started the podcast and all things have left my brain. What's that guy's name again? Former CEO of Toolpath.
Oh,
Al Watmo. Yeah. So Al Watmo's company is having a booth that's kind of replacing the Toolpath booth that we had last IMTS, and I believe they are hosting the meetup, the Lone Machinist meetup. Man, I am not doing well today. Whereas our meetup will be at the Tormach booth, 2 p.m. With Intolerance, I don't know where it's going to be. But it'll probably either be at Al's booth or probably at the Kern booth again or something. But I don't know. That's a Dylan problem, not a me problem. Should we summon Dylan? Dylan.
How the heck did I get here? Anyway, the With Intolerance meetup will be, as always, at the Kern booth, Wednesday at 3 p.m. That is September 16th, and it is booth 338719. I am looking forward to seeing all of you there. And everyone at the Taps and Patience meetup. Thanks.
I will unfortunately not be there on Monday, but Weston will.
Okay. So. Is he going to come to the Lone Machinist meetup?
I doubt it, but
yeah, that's kind of what I imagined.
Weston has a zero connection to the podcasting community.
Yeah.
I still don't think I've had him on as a guest, have I?
No.
So I need to have him on as a guest at some point. I need to try to get him on. He's like my wife, very private, does not like to get in front of a camera and talk. So, but that's okay. So he's going to be there Monday to Tuesday, and I'm going to be Tuesday, Wednesday. So we're splitting it up. That way Ben is only one day at the shop alone.
Makes sense.
So,
I'm gonna try to get my wife there at least one day, and I'm hoping it'll be Tuesday.
Weston and his wife and me and my wife will be there. So
at the meetup,
she'll be there the whole time. She'll be stuck to me. So
okay.
So it'll be
She's not going to go hide in Al's booth.
Yeah, I mean, I gave her the option. I asked her if she wanted to come, and she was interested in coming. Which I'm going to be honest, I was a little shocked and amazed because this doesn't seem like her thing, but she was okay with it. So she's gonna come.
And if you're just like walking around at IMTS and you see us, like, feel free to come talk to us.
Yeah.
Like, I will definitely not initiate the conversation with you because I won't know that you know me, but you should do it so that I can talk to you.
Yeah. The first time that happened to me in public, it was the weirdest experience ever.
Have you ever had it happen not at IMTS?
Yes.
Okay.
So I had it happen the very first time at the down in Texas, Titans CNC.
That makes sense.
And then the second, then it was at IMTS, and then at the airport. I don't remember if it was before or after IMTS. We had some people that like were in security line, and they're like, "Hey, Harrison," and I'm just like, "What?"
Yeah.
And they're like, they were fans of the podcast, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." So
yeah, I have had students come in and be like, "Hey, I've seen you on YouTube Shorts." Mm-hmm. It's like, that's weird. And at the Haas demo days, I met a couple people there who had listened to the podcast.
Yeah,
so it's weird.
It is.
We're in a weird world now, Harrison.
Yeah, it is. But it's a good world. I mean, it's cool. It's funny because I've been on the other end where like I've watched someone on YouTube for a long time, and then I go up to talk to them, and it's like I feel like I have a one-way relationship with them, and they have no idea.
That's what it is. Yeah,
and they have no idea who I am, and then being on the other side of that is trippy, really trippy, because it's like someone knows you and you have no idea who they are, and I mean, unless they've been in the Discord or something like that. Like, there's a lot of people that listen that aren't, so I won't necessarily know all of them.
Yep. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to IMTS. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
My video I recorded at IMTS is still making like $60 a month.
Nice.
And that's after it did like $1,000 in the first 2 months or something.
Yeah.
So I'm going to record more videos at IMTS.
I'm gonna be looking at a lot more equipment, a lot more seriously for like future upgrades.
I suspect we have a question here from our Q&A list. Oh, I was looking at last week's. I swear there's one. Yeah, okay. Kyle at Curse Machine, who has apparently been having a bad time on a Subtract job. And I'm sorry, Kyle. We've all been there. He's like having one of those jobs where everything goes wrong. They're simple parts. Well, they're not that simple. They are parts he has made before, I think. But sometimes machining the world just fights you. So,
yeah.
Kyle, Curse Machine, are you shopping for anything at IMTS? He asks.
Yeah, I think so. I'm still in the market for a smaller, fully automatic bandsaw that's bigger than the Tormach one. Like, there's like between the Tormach one and the one that Haas sells, there's like a no man's land of automatic saws in between those two sizes.
The Haas one isn't that much, right? Isn't it only like 10K?
No, it's a lot more than that. It's like almost 40, like 35, 40. It was 40 at one point. I think it launched at 30. It went up to 40, and I think it's come back down to like 35. I think
we might have had this exact same conversation on air before.
Yeah. But I've always wanted one that was same capabilities or similar. It doesn't have to be able to do as large a material, but smaller footprint. Smaller footprint is what I need more than anything else.
I wonder if they're going to do that at some point. It feels like an obvious move for them.
What?
For Haas, just to do a smaller version of their saw.
Yeah, I mean they're white labeling it from someone else. In fact, Dylan got the Haas automatic bandsaw, but he bought it from the original manufacturers.
Yeah.
So
I think it was like the same price, but support was better or something like that.
Yeah. So.
All right. I have a genius plan for you.
Okay.
You need to start a tooling company, right? Harrison Brand Tools. You buy the Haas tools, you resell them at price, you buy the Haas bandsaw with Haas bucks.
I don't think I would have the volume.
We can get there. You can go make some friends at IMTS.
And nor would I want to, because that would just...
It would be a whole lot of work for very low margin.
Yes. Yeah. I have much better ways of spending my time than that.
It'd literally be the equivalent of running a business that doesn't make money, but you put all of your expenses on a credit card so you get the points.
Yeah, exactly.
I see nothing wrong with this. Yeah. I feel like I've had jobs with less margin than that before.
Oh, I definitely have. 100%. So how was your week or week and a half?
It has been busy. I have a class now that is from 7 to 10 in the morning. So it's a 3-hour class, but it's like an hour and 20 minutes away. And so I've been getting up very early, going to my class, and then coming back and still kind of having most of the day. And then I'm like, oh, I have most of the day. I should get a bunch of work done. And I took some parts and did some jobs. And so I'm like working a work day before my work day. And then I get done with my second work day and it's like immediately bedtime. And I go to sleep and I get 5 or 6 hours of sleep. And then I wake up and do it again. So that's kind of where I've been at. Today, I did not do second work day. Today, I got home. On my way home, I stopped at a Chick-fil-A and I sat there. I did like all the emails and computer work and everything I had to get caught up on. And then I went to my bank to fix some issues with my bank account. And then I went home and I took a nap until like my wife got home at around 6. And then we ate dinner and we watched a episode of The Good Place. And then I podcasted. But I've been working on Mongo a lot and I've been kind of making parts.
How's that going with Mongo?
Mongo has officially loaded and ran pallets automatically.
Oh, so you've run something with them.
Mongo has run stuff. The reliability is not there yet. And what I'm running into that I just haven't had time to fix it. Like, you know how this stuff is. You kind of work through problem by problem by problem. And as you dig through problems, you expose new problems.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of the issues I had, which I knew I had, was my shelves were too wobbly. And so the pickup positions were drifting a little bit as the shelves slowly leaned over. And so I put some cross bracing on there and that immediately fixed that. And so, then we are getting to the point where it's, we're picking up and placing the pallets reliably. And then, taught it to put them in the machine. And then I started, so then we're able to run programs, right? The controller is able to call programs on the mill. It's able to, tell the robot to load. I'm running into this weird problem now where Mongo will load a pallet, the mill will run the program, and then like Mongo gets bored and stops listening to the controller. And like he just stops communicating. Or potentially my Windows computer stops communicating with him. I'm not sure yet. But if I assign just like a blank program or a really quick, like a 10-second kind of debug program to the pallets and have it run that, he will run those continuously nonstop. Like, I've done, I don't know, probably 10 or 20, pallet changes in a row where all it's doing is it loads the pallet, the mill will like move in a circle, then it'll pick up the pallet. That's working. But for some reason, as soon as it's a 20-minute program, Mongo just like phases out and ADHD is off into the world and doesn't keep listening.
Interesting.
So,
are you running it off a laptop?
Yes, the main controller is a laptop right now.
Do you have it like going? Is your laptop going to sleep automatically after 20 minutes or something like that?
No, my laptop's staying awake. It could be a weird power saving mode. That is very possible.
Yeah, because it sounds like a power if it's exactly on 20 minutes and it's going through the laptop.
It's not exactly 20 minutes. That's a made up number, but
what I mean by that, if it's repeatable to the minute, then it's probably something like that.
I don't know if it is repeatable yet.
What you need to do then is you need to write a program that like every time it's called up, it goes up 1 minute longer.
That's actually a good idea. And see if it breaks in the same place.
Yeah. So where it just loops and then once you kind of got an idea of when that window is, you could just have it start at like 10 minutes or 15 minutes and try to figure out if it's how consistent it is.
Yeah. That's a good idea. On this last batch of parts, I definitely was like, when I started them, I was like, okay, I'm committed to run these with Mongo. And I had like 3 days to work on them. Realistically, it was probably 2 days worth of work. And I sat down the first day, and that's when I like hammered through kind of all the initial, kind of integration hell things. And I very quickly fell into the kind of the sunk cost fallacy of like, I'm going to run this with Mongo. I'm not going to do this by hand. I'm going to do it with Mongo. And then one day of troubleshooting Mongo turned into like a day and a half of troubleshooting Mongo. And at that point I was like, I'm going to run out of time if I don't just do these. And so I spent the rest of the time running the jobs while also trying to figure out Mongo. Yeah. And we I don't know, maybe 10 of the parts had some amount of 10 of the programs. There were 20 parts, 3 ops each individual work holding. So it would have been a total of 60 pallet loads to do this job. Mm-hmm. And maybe 5 or 10 of them were loaded and ran by Mongo, but I never got it to really repeat reliably.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's just like, I think I said in one of my videos, this is going to take me like a year to really get working, and it'll probably take me 2 or 3 years until it's reliable. And I don't know. I think I'm probably ahead of that schedule. So I'm happy where it's at. I just need time to work on it.
Yeah. That's how it goes with these things.
That's the difference between paying an integrator $100,000 and just doing it yourself.
Exactly.
It's cheaper, but I'm there working on Mongo when I should be making parts.
Yeah.
I did just put in a big work holding order.
Oh, okay.
So I just ordered 17 new vices.
Are they the barnacles?
They're not the barnacles. I do have barnacles on the way.
Okay.
But even if I use barnacles, I still need work holding for the Op 0.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll have 5. I think I ordered 5 barnacles for when I need dovetail work holding. I ordered 2 or 3 more of the soft jaw vices. So I'll have a total of I think I ordered 3 more, so I'll have a total of 5 of those. And I figured it made more sense to have less of the soft jaw work holding, because like if I'm doing a run of 10 parts, I don't want to make 10 soft jaws first. That seems a little excessive, but even 5 sets of soft jaws is probably a little bit excessive, because I'll still probably run those one at a time mostly, or maybe swapping between 2 vices. Then I ordered 10 of the smaller little self-centering vices, and then those have a second configuration where you can hold slightly wider parts, and I ordered 5 of those.
Okay.
So I'll be set up to automate small parts. Like anything over 2 inches wide is going to be a little bit problematic for my system, but that's okay because that's what I specialize in.
Yeah.
So I need to, once I'm done with these last 2 jobs, 3 jobs, whatever I have now, I need to just sit down with Mongo, come up with a part that doesn't matter. Maybe I'll make a bunch of soft jaws or something with Mongo and just like make them until Mongo's reliable. So that's really what I need, is I just need a couple days, locked in my shop to, yell at ChatGPT until it works.
Yeah. Fair enough. Anything else? Have you run the machine at all since we last talked? Like
I said, I made parts.
Oh yeah, you did made some parts.
Yeah. I have the second batch of the nozzle parts coming up here soon.
Yeah.
Which Mongo won't be particularly useful for unless he can put in screws. I'm going to do another smaller batch for them first. So the first parts were pretty much dead on nominal when I shipped them. And they're like, yeah, these don't work. And it's like, well, they're what you told me to make. And they were like, yeah. And so we're gonna revise the design a little bit. It was an engineering issue. They didn't know what to put as a tolerance, basically.
Yeah.
So we're gonna tweak that because I don't think they were really in charge of the manufacturing of it before with their previous supplier, and whatever the other guy did just worked, and so they're trying to recreate that. I don't really know, but nozzles. I have some other parts which ironically are also nozzles. But they're ones that I'm doing entirely from scratch. They're little Venturis that are about yay big.
Yeah.
Actually, they're like yay big because I think they're only 1/4 inch long. But perfect audacity stuff.
Gotcha. And you're making on those nozzles. Remind me, are you making them from scratch, or are you just modifying existing nozzles?
Bulk order. I am buying nozzles that are off the shelf, a given size. They're literally from a company that makes like car wash equipment. And all I'm doing is drilling holes to a different size. So, they might have a 10 thou hole or something in there, and I'm making it, bigger than that. This new job that I'm taking is just 5 stainless nozzles coming from Billet. They're, like I said, it's some sort of little Venturi insert.
Gotcha.
So apparently I do nozzles now. I had the phase where, what was it?
I've got the discs, the plastic discs.
Phase where I make little acrylic circles. I feel like there was one thing before that I did a bunch of for some reason. And now I'm in my nozzle phase.
It wasn't those parts that you did for like a year or like 6 months that was...
No, we don't think about those parts anymore. I have too much trauma associated with those parts. Rings. I went from the little acrylic discs and the like little tiny acrylic shapes to making just like rings. Peak rings, Delrin rings, Teflon rings, just like these little thin rings that were, anywhere between like 1 inch and 3 inches in diameter and anywhere from like 50 thou to, 2 millimeters thick. Yeah, I had a ring phase. I haven't gotten any of those rings lately. Now I'm in my nozzle phase.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I guess the other thing is Subtract. So Jacob always yells at me for not talking about Subtract, but Subtract is still kind of slowly and steadily picking up steam. Our growth has maintained a growth trajectory. It's still going up. We're getting more and more kind of non-repeat customers, people who maybe aren't familiar with us from the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing more kind of traditional traditional companies reaching out to us, not just like, hey, I have a machine shop and here's some overflow work that you can have because I know about the podcast. We're getting more and more of that, which is nice to see. More traditional customers in different industries. The new Jacob Stout, formerly intern Jacob, now Subtract Jacob number 2, has also really been killing it. So he's been doing a fantastic job and is kind of spearheading everything customer focused at this point, except still quoting, because I still have not finished the last little bit of quoting 2.0 for Jacob. We just got I almost said rough draft, and that is not the right word. We got a skeleton plan, a skeleton design back for our new website revamp, which will happen at some point here. And I suspect when we get the new website up and running, it's going to make a pretty big difference to our sales. Our website right now is great for something that was built in a day, but I think it's kind of holding back some of our credibility and, how professional we look to when, GM comes and looks parts. Like, I don't think GM would buy parts from our website right now. So at some point here, we'll get the new website, and then we will get the new form where the customers will put in their parts. And then we will, at some point here, I have quoting 2.0. Those might happen in different orders. Maybe quoting 2.0 will happen first, but we are slowly chipping away and making progress over there.
Good deal.
We took on 2 new shops.
Nice.
And I've been spending a lot more of my time kind of managing jobs over there, which is a good sign. That's great. That's what I'm supposed to be doing is, talking with our shops and making sure there's no problems and helping fix problems after we shoot ourselves in the foot because we way underquoted a job and frantically trying to figure out how to get that made. And we underquoted a job and we lost many $1,000s on it. But the customers are getting their parts and they will be great and they will be on time. So
there you go. That's what matters. Part of this is learning.
Yep. So, and quoting 2.0 would have caught this.
What was it? A feature or unexpected extra time? Like what was the snag?
So basically, this job had a weird kind of workflow to it where it it was one of the earlier ones with intern Jacob, and I can't call him intern Jacob anymore. Jacob Stout. Jacob Stout did like the first 25% of the job, and then subtract Jacob did like 25% of the job, and then like I did 25%. And when I say job, I mean like the whole quote process. And then like it went back to Jacob, then it went like back to me, and the job just changed hands so many times that none of us really kind of had a consistent view all the way through. And
gotcha.
Worse is like it was kind of in all of our heads, it was somebody else's problem. So it was like, oh, Jacob already did this. I can trust Jacob here. Jacob was like, oh, AJ already did this. I can trust AJ here. And really what happened is we didn't look at the drawings very carefully. At the end of the day, that's what happens. And the drawings had some wild GD&T on them that did not get factored into the price. It just did not get counted. And it would have taken, this job we quoted at, I don't know, say way less than it should have been, under 5 figures. And it probably should have been, $30,000. Like we were able to eat a lot of cost on it and get it done. But that was a mistake. I regret that.
Fair enough.
But we've had quite a few shops just recently really knock things out of the water, like shipping, parts that have a 12 or 15 business day lead times, which is like 3 weeks, and shipping those parts in like 3 days, and they look outstanding. We just had some repeat work come back. We had a part come in that I don't even remember quoting, which means it was probably Jacob, and no mess, no fuss, no relation to the company that ordered it. So things are starting to flow there.
Good deal. Glad to hear it. So,
do we want to get to the Q&A? Because we have quite a few.
Yeah. Do you want to do the Q&A and then we can talk about my shop afterwards? Or
yeah, let's talk about your shop now.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we've been busy. We've been hustling. I think last time we talked, I had something like 20,000 parts on order.
Okay.
And I think we're now down to like 12,000. I think we've
so you made 8,000.
We've made like 8,000 parts. So, and that was probably over the course of 3-4 weeks. So pretty good haul of parts.
Yep.
And we've had some progress on the shop. We've got all of our permits in place now, and we are getting the shop ready for concrete for the addition.
Oh, that's a lot sooner than I thought it would be.
So we've started moving stuff around and digging up the ground, getting it ready for concrete. We're gonna try to bootstrap it, do as much of it as we can on our own, and then bring people in as needed.
Call in the family swarm.
Yeah, the family swarm. So between my dad, my uncle, and then me and Weston, we're going to try to do as much of it as we can. Weston, at the end of the day, has been bringing the farm backhoe out and kind of digging around in the evenings. So he might start doing it in the mornings because it's cooler in the mornings.
Yeah. It's really, at least here, it's really nice today, though.
Yeah. So I'm doing that. We might have our SVM sold.
Oh, that was fast.
So, and we've already got approved for financing and got a deal worked out on the next machine. And so the only thing we're waiting on is that the guy who's going to be buying it, he wants to swing by the shop and have it inspected. And
that makes sense.
He's supposed to come by end of this week or beginning of next. And then hopefully we'll know by then if the machine is sold. So we'll be happy about that. It will be stressful though because it's been running round the clock as with the other machines. So like being down for a couple days will be stressful, but it'll be nice to have another 5-axis in the shop.
Could you choreograph it to have one set of riggers there?
So what we're going to try to do, well, Weston wants to have it come and go on the same day. My dad had a really good suggestion, which me and Weston haven't really decided yet, and we're not quite to that point yet. But my dad suggested that we have the riggers come and pick up the machine at the end of one day and then have the other machine dropped off beginning of the next day, just have the riggers leave all their equipment there. So they come in, they get one machine out, and then the next day, the next one gets dropped off. And the reason my dad suggested that is because the semi trucks are always hard to get scheduled. And if you have them on the same day, one could arrive before the other one, or, there could just be problems with that. And so having them 2 different days would be better.
What if they brought the machine on a truck, unloaded it, loaded the new one in, and then it left on that same truck?
Well, the customer who's part of the deal with them buying the machine is they're paying for rigging out after it's outside of our shop.
Yeah.
Like once it's on their trailer. So like they're going to use a different.
You're not organizing it is the answer. Okay.
So we're not organizing the incoming truck because that's from Haas, and we're not organizing the outgoing truck because that's whatever supplier they end up using. So
you're just kind of at the whims of everybody else.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit, yeah.
Well, good luck with organizing that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a interesting set of events, but if it all happens, it'll be nice.
Yeah.
So,
and if it goes long, the truck doesn't show up for an extra 4 hours because of traffic, you wouldn't be on the hook for that bill on either case, right?
On install, that's a good question. I'm not sure. We're responsible for getting it out of the shop. So, but if we're waiting on the truck, I don't know how that would work. It's a good question. I'll have to look into that. So we got that going on. We're doing Magwell production again.
Good.
And this time we actually have a CMM. So we got that all set up on the CMM so where we can run inspections on that. And there's a couple features that were lofted cuts that we were unable to really accurately inspect because they were profiled surfaces that there's not really a way to do it with any kind of hand tools.
Yeah.
And so it's been a couple days kind of getting those tool paths dialed in. And we ended up switching to a different tool partway through. And it ended up speeding up things and making the surface look a lot better. So
nice. Switch to a Frasia?
No, it was a Harvey and it was an angled cutter. So
an angled cutter.
Yeah. So we did
like a tapered end mill?
Yeah. So we didn't have to do a loft cut anymore. So we could do it as a 3-axis cut.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't think we could get it to fit down in there, but it just barely fits. It comes within 5 thou of hitting the other side, another feature on the part. And it's okay, I honestly didn't think this was actually going to even fit in there because I didn't even consider it. But we were relooking at that part and we're all right, what can we do to make it better?
Was it an off-the-shelf tool or a
It wasn't
custom?
off-the-shelf. It was an off-the-shelf tool. But they only had 2 of them in stock. And I ended up coming to a really sharp point. And I broke the first one because the very tip of it broke off.
Ow, bummer.
After 3 or 4 parts. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we've got that resolved and it shouldn't happen again.
Did you have to make a sketch to drive that tool path?
I did. I had to make a custom sketch to be able to drive it the way it needed to drive.
I feel like that's always my sign that I've gone too far down some route. Whenever I get to the point where I'm sketching tool paths, it's you may have had a better way of doing this some other way.
Well, that's why we had originally done the lofting idea.
Yeah.
But it's a better part this way.
When you say loft, you mean the simultaneous 5-axis move?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was a simultaneous 5-axis. Swarf is what I'm looking for. Or not Swarf.
Flow?
lofted cut. Is that what I'm saying?
I mean, it's a loft in the modeling workspace.
Yeah. I'm trying to swarf cut, but I'm thinking swarf is like the chips that come off whenever you're cutting. So
Is that not the name of the toolpath?
it might be. Is it also called swarf?
I want to say it's called swarf, but you may have just inceptioned that in my head. Can I even see that toolpath? Oh yeah, I would be able to. That toolpath isn't hidden behind the manufacturing extension.
It isn't? Are you sure? I'm pretty sure that one is.
Is it? Well, I can still see the manufacturing extension toolpath, I think. Oh, it is a swarf. There it is.
It is called swarf?
Yeah, I can see it. I swear that used to not be behind the manufacturing extension.
It didn't, but it was eventually moved there. And it was a while ago.
Because it is a simultaneous 5-axis thing. Yeah, it's been a while.
So anyways, not using that anymore. And so we just spent some time getting it dialed in, and these parts are now crisp. They are
good.
They're so nice. Like every step that every iteration that we've kind of gone into them, we've been pickier and pickier and made them nicer and nicer. Not that the original ones were bad, but by the standard we're holding ourselves to now, I guess they would be, but they weren't like out of spec before. Mm-hmm. It's just that they were not as consistent as they are now.
Yeah.
So
incremental quality improvements.
Yeah. Incremental quality improvements. So I did have another fun one. So I have a company that we haven't really done a whole lot of work for, but they're a big manufacturing company around here. And they send a lot of stuff to China. Mm-hmm. And I've talked about them a couple times on the podcast. They had some parts that they wanted us to do, and they like the price they wanted us to meet was like China pricing that was like cheaper than we can get the material. Well, that part's come back to us like 2 or 3 or 4 times, and they finally pulled the trigger on letting us actually make them after I think they've sent them to China, they've done them internally, and I think they sent them to 1 or 2 other machine shops. And they finally sent them to us. So I finally got to do them. And I think I figured out what some of their problems were. Because it ended up being a pain in the butt for us to do. But their model had some weird artifacts in it where there were some radiuses that Fusion would not recognize as radiuses. And so I had to redraw all the features to get the 5-axis toolpaths to work.
Okay.
And it was a pain in the butt. But and I shout out to Dylan. He was going to help me figure this out, and I eventually got it figured out before he had time to help me.
Was it like a UV curve kind of situation, or
I don't know what it was. It had to do with like, it's like they did an extruded cut on a circular feature down to a cylinder, and all of the features were linear, and then they came and did it from a different angle and had them meet up instead of doing like a. So let me put it to you another way. It's like they had the threads on the outside of the threads of a screw, like one giant one that had some geometry in it, and it's like you were trying to cut the threads of a screw by doing 2 different cuts straight on, to a circular depth.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so like it created weird geometry in the corners of how things met that like you couldn't do with it. You either have to do it with a ball mill and it'd leave an internal radius.
Yeah.
And a bunch of weird stuff. And it was just causing all kinds of problems. And so I ended up basically breaking the model down and using surfaces to rebuild the geometry the right way. And I eventually got it to work. And they turned out really nice.
Nice.
But it was a lot more work than I was expecting on those parts. And I suspect that's part of the quality problems I've been getting from other shops. Mm-hmm. But
it is amazing how you could even have 2 models that look identical, but are modeled differently, and it can affect the toolpaths that you get off of it.
Yeah.
Like if you're making, I don't know, a screw or something, if you use a revolve versus like series of stacked cylinders that you extrude out, it'll machine differently. And most machinists don't understand this. Most engineers certainly don't understand this or necessarily even care. But yeah, when you start to get to some of that really weird machining, that stuff really, really matters.
And do you want to know how I figured it out?
Zebra analysis.
No.
Okay.
I was using Fusion's new AI assistant.
Oh, really?
And so in a roundabout way, it helped me figure it out because I threw every 5-axis toolpath that Fusion had at it, and none of them would work. And I spent an hour and a half with the AI trying to figure out what was going on. And it kept telling me to adjust features that are in the kernel, but not visible to Fusion, to Fusion's like Windows. And so it'd be like, adjust this setting to try to fix it. And I would be like, I can't find that setting. And it'd be like, go to the heights page, go to the geometry page, go to this page, go to that page. And like, I kept sending it screenshots and it's like, you're right, that setting's not there. Try here. And I'm like, oh, you're right, that setting's not there.
Were they in the super secret right click menu?
I don't know about the super secret right click menu.
You just right click on it, you hit compare and edit, then there's more settings in there. Things like triangulation tolerance and stuff like that.
I didn't know there were settings in there that you couldn't access otherwise.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
I'll have to go see if I can figure that out.
The ones that I run into a lot in there are the triangulation tolerance, which is normally kind of sort of calculated from the tolerance, but also not by default. And well, let me rephrase that. It is calculated by the tolerance that you set in like in your little tolerance tab on a toolpath. But that tolerance tab also affects other things like contour linearization. And sometimes you don't necessarily want those two things tied together. And as some of my parts get really small, you run into weird things happening with, like, it will think that two lines don't line up when they should. And by tweaking those, like that linearization tolerance, I can sometimes fix those. Or you get weird, like mesh artifacts in the model when you go to do a surfacing toolpath and changing the triangulation tolerance there independently of some of the other tolerances can make a difference.
Yeah. So anyways, long story short, once I got the geometry fixed, all the toolpaths that I wanted to use worked fine. Yeah. So it was a pain in the butt, but like when I finally got it figured out, I felt so much better. So got those parts done, got them going. Go ahead.
Can I share a random PSA while I'm thinking about it here, just so it's on the internet so people know?
Yeah.
So, fun fact, Fusion takes, when it is trying to figure out toolpaths and like even the resolution that you can see of your model, it goes off of how large your part is. If your part is really large and it has tiny features, you will run into weird issues where it's like just ignoring parts of the tiny features. So that becomes particularly problematic when you have something like a sketch that's got like weird geometry way off in the corner, or for some reason you have a weird model that's got, you know, a part that is like 3 feet out in model space to the side. Fusion will go, wow, this is a huge part. I don't need a huge amount of resolution on this. Or like, you know, I don't need tiny triangles. And you can lose features inside that. And sometimes you have to like isolate the one portion, or with the compare and edit menu, force Fusion to do different things. So just watch out. If you have big parts with tiny features on it, Fusion does weird things. PSA.
Good to know.
Hopefully someone will remember this in like 7 years when they run across like some weird issue where this comes up, and they'll be like, that one guy said the one thing on the podcast. Because that saves me all the time.
Yeah. Apart from that, it's been not a whole lot. Just trying to get parts nailed out. So, and yeah.
You've been in production mode.
Yeah, production mode. Got everything running. When I get done here, I got to swing back to the shop and shut down a machine just so it's not sitting there idling all night because it was finishing up a part and I left it running. So I'll go back and shut it off after this. But now I'm ready for Patreons and questions.
I was waiting for you to say something that'll give me a transition into speaking of, but I didn't get one. So speaking of bad transitions, we have Patreons. Our Patreons help us run the show. They make sure that, we can have things edited. And we used to have a website, but Jamie owns that now. So, and then they're going to get us to IMTS and help kind of cover our expenses there. So we really appreciate you guys. This is why we do the podcast, or are able to do the podcast. Our top tier Patreon is G28 Machining. I'm not going to do the spiel today, but they are at the sponsorship level where we do an ad read for them occasionally. So if you need some machining, precision job shop stuff, FFL, 5-axis, check out G28 Machining. We have new Patreons this week, Kobe L and that's Zachary, just spelled with more E's than I would expect. Zachary H. So Kobe L and Zachary H. And then our Patreons at $15 a month or more are Zachary with too many E's, H, CJ at CS Machine and Fabrication, Mike at G28 Machining. Zachary, I'm so sorry for making fun of your name on a podcast. Brian at Headco, Matt at Modern Fuel, Russell M, Joseph E, Brian B, Jacob S, Chris at CDS Plastics, John S, Alex H, Avery M, Chris B at Puda Creek Precision, Josh at Layton Machine, Millen Y, Devin C, Christian O, Stephen M, Daniel R, James at Moultrie Made, Ryan at Strand Manufacturing, Kyle at Kursk Machine, Devin at Sinister Machine Works, Greg at Frogtown Manufacturing, just one Greg, not Greg's, James N, Ben at Prickly Pear Prototypes, Cam S, Shep at Alderson Prototyping, Jacob at Zona Precision, Jason at JLS Machine, Joshua H, Christian Z, Leland B, Freaky Climber, Prescott at 1Z 2Z Systems, Trey V, Alexander B, Scott Designed the Everything, Jamie at Nautical Work Holding, EJ at Nocturnal Welding, Chris at Zyke Precision, Chris at Thought Bomb Design, and as ever, Jake Brownson. On this episode of The Lone Machinists, they called him AJ at Nocturnal Welding, which is funny because I call him I call Jamie at Nocturnal Welding. Or do I say EJ Nocturnal Work Holding? I don't know.
You say Jamie at Nocturnal Welding or Nocturnal Work Holding.
I don't know. I say I'm wrong a lot, and I'm pretty sure Jacob put them there just to bug me.
No, I got a new thing for Jacob to do to mess with you. Put everything in alphabetical order. That way, you have like everyone that has.
I don't know if that would get me or not.
You don't know if that one would get you?
I think changing the order in general would mess with me.
You would have 3 Chris's, 4 Chris's. How many Chris's would you have? And the only thing that different would be where what they're at is.
We also have a Christian.
Yeah, Chris's and Christian.
Then I could just say we would like to thank the 4 Chris's.
Yeah, Chris, and then listen for your at.
If we have 3 names in a row, though, we're going to summon the person. So, if we have 3 Jacobs, we're going to have a problem.
There you go.
I went to my first class that I'm teaching here on Monday, and I would was just talking to Jacob, and I go to my class, and my first student walks in and goes, "Hi, I'm Jacob." It's like, of course you are. You want a job? We might as well. Okay, Griffin P. Oh wait, is there? Oh, we already did the talk about IMTS, and we'll skip the Patreon benefits this week. They're there, trust me. Griffin P. I'm looking to buy my first CNC mill to learn on, with the goal of eventually doing some light job shop work in my free time. My biggest constraint is as to fit through a single man door or through a standard man door. That certainly will limit you a little bit. What?
Keep going. Next paragraph.
Oh, there's paragraphs. I thought those were different questions.
No, I think it's all in the one. It's just weird how it's broken up.
Okay. I'm deciding between a Tormach 440 and a 770M. I'm worried about the work envelope and don't want to outgrow the machine if I start taking on small jobs. The 770 would require significant disassembly just to fit through the door. I don't think the disassembly for the 770 is that significant, unless it's already in built enclosure.
Yeah. Would skip the 440 and make the 770 work, or is the 440 capable enough that it's a better choice?
There's another line.
Yep. You're not quite done yet.
Both of those are functional machines. The 440 is very small. One of the nice things about the 440 is the resale value is very high on those because of the issue you described. The 770 doesn't quite resell for as high of a percentage of its original like MSRP, which can be both good and bad. Because if you find one used, you're getting a better deal on it, but then you resell it for less. Whereas the 440, they command kind of a premium. So,
and it depends on what type of work you're trying to do. Do you need the space? Because if you need the space, then you're going to have to do a 770 no matter what.
If you are just learning, I would say spend as little money as you can at this stage.
Yeah.
Like buy something used, honestly, the 770 used might be cheaper than a 440 used. And just get it used, learn on that, and then decide what you need. You may find that the 440 is plenty, or the 770 is plenty, and you don't need to upgrade. You may decide that you want a VF9. But you're not going to really know yet at this point. You're not going to know what your niche is. Either one of those is perfectly capable of making some product, and I would start there. But in terms of spindle horsepower, they're not that different, if I remember right. The 770 certainly has more meat behind it, and just the more weight. If given the choice, I would go with the 770 every time, except maybe for the convenience of moving it around and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. I would go with the 770 personally. Taking apart the enclosure and stuff is not that bad. And unbolting the top half of it from its frame is not that bad. Get one used. Learn on it, crash it a couple times, break some tools, pull some tool holders out of the TTS, call it, learn about that. Get good at programming and then figure out what you want to do with your life from there. So unless you know you're going to move in 3 months, and the Tormach 440 is a lot easier to move, but either one's fine. I would go 770. You do you. Buy an anchor point, put an anchor point on it, which actually you probably wouldn't want to do for the 440.
All right. I don't really have much more to add to that. And that sounds like a good set of advice.
Yeah, you're at the learning phase, so just get something cheap. If you're not depending on it for production, just learn on a junky machine
or to make money. If you are using it to make money, a cheap machine like that will allow you to not have a machine payment, to put that money aside and to get what you actually need.
Yeah, realistically, on both of those machines in 2026, you're not going to get onto Xometry with that. Their standards have raised. The competition's too much. You're not going to make a lot of money if you do. We wouldn't take somebody on Subtract Network if they just had 770. You're going to be making your own products, and for that, it's basically just whatever you can fit. So, Ashton G says, "How much can you guys bench?" No idea. I don't bench.
Last time I benched was in university, and I think I maxed at around 275, and I'm probably 100 pounds less than that now on my max bench, probably 175 if I'm doing good. Although I did just re-sign up at our local gym, nice. So I'm gonna try to start making it to the gym again. So
I had been doing a really good job of exercising until it started to be 95 degrees with 90% humidity. And then I stopped doing a good job of exercising.
So now that I have a gym membership, I have less excuses to not go try to work out and try to get back in shape.
Yep. Second part of that question. Also, what kind of material do you think would taste the best if you were a creature that ate swarf to survive?
I mean, just based off of feel, I would go with Delrin or some kind of plastic.
Amber Altum.
So
Amber Altum. It just looks the most delicious. I can't explain it, but it does. Copper's kind of cool too. Those are shiny.
Yeah.
I don't normally eat shiny things, but it says creature, and if I was a creature, I'd like shiny things, so I'd probably eat copper swarf.
Yeah.
What do you think about bootstrapping automation processes versus purchasing an off-the-shelf solution?
Matt at Blackwell Engineering.
This is Matt at Blackwell Engineering.
Yeah.
I think Harrison and I have spoken with money on this one.
Yeah. I will say that, like, I wish I had the time to play around with bootstrapping something. But I think his next part of the question is pros and cons of each and why did you go with the routes you each went. It all has to do with how much time do you have and how profitable do you need to be from the get-go. So, like, you're able to bootstrap everything through because your machine is not limited to the point where if you can't get parts out the door, you're going to start having angry customers. Where we're at the point where I would have to either hire another employee or bring in automation. And I've got one employee. I probably am going to get another one, but automation is still the right answer because I don't want to pay someone to do the monotonous tasks. And I'm hoping to get spindle grippers in the near future on potentially 2 machines. So, like, I'm hoping to automate some more, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So to paraphrase Mr. Clicky Pen over there, it's risk tolerance.
Yeah.
It's basically it. I have a very high risk tolerance because of the nature of my business. So I can do silly things and it's fine. Because if I lose a week of production, like whatever, unless I happen to have parts due that week, like, but I don't have, these long, big reoccurring orders that I have to have, this contract to fulfill. So as long as I am strategic about when I'm taking that risk, it's just like, whatever. I can be down. It's fine. Whereas Harrison's obviously in a very different world. I mean, at this point, I have essentially no debt. I have technically a little bit more that I have not yet paid off because I have money sitting, like, waiting in my net 30 that hasn't landed yet, and I need that to pay off the rest of it. But my expenses are my Fusion license, Toolpath, insurance, QuickBooks, and Google. I think that's it. Like, that's my overhead. Altogether, I'm at, like, I don't know, $500 a month or something in overhead. And, like, that's probably less than Harrison's VF3.
Oh, by like a factor of 3.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got a bunch of other machines.
Yeah.
So the nature of our business is going to be really, really different. And kind of on that same vein is, so I could have spent $50,000 to have someone come in and set up a Mongo for me. Or was Mongo $3,000 or $4,000? Do you remember?
I think it was 4.
I think it was 4. Okay, so Mongo was $4,000. I've spent about $2,000 in 80/20 extrusion and wires and buttons and electrical connectors and, like, all the little kind of various random things, pneumatic cylinders, hoses, airline fittings, just like all the hardware that adds up. Call that about 2,000, and I just sunk another 1,000 into work holding. So I've already lost track of my math, and public math is hard, but I'm that many dollars in, and I have a mostly functional system. But it's only a mostly functional system, and if I needed it right now, that would be a problem. But I don't need it right now. I probably don't need a Mongo for, like, reasonably 2 years in my current growth. So I'm doing this way ahead of time. I'm doing it super low budget. Mongo right now is my hobby. Like, that is really all it is. I could, if I was a car guy, I'd be spending the same amount of money on a car. The difference is my hobbies happen to line up with things that are somewhat useful to work. So
this is a very similar question to if you were starting out, would you buy a Tormach machine of any size versus any of the, big vertical machines or 5-axis machines you can get from any of the other vendors? It's like, well, if you're just starting out and you don't have to be fast, Tormach's great. I mean, that's how we got started. That's what you're doing all your stuff on. They're great machines, but if you're trying to do thousands upon thousands of parts per year, and like you need stuff that the next level up, you need that reliability. You gotta go there. So, and I'm excited to see what this year at IMTS, some of the more automation stuff that they have, because Lang's bringing out a lot more stuff. There's a lot of, automation is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger with time. So, and I'm really excited, honestly, AJ, to see how your automation ends up going and progressing over time, because that's going to be a really inexpensive automation setup when you're all said and done. And it's going to be very competitive.
Yeah. Especially when I get Mongo adding and removing tools from the tool changer.
That will be impressive.
So that is on the plan. That's on the timeline. It's definitely not going to happen first, but 16 tools is not enough for, a high mix palette changing machine. You really need a lot more than 16 tools.
Yeah, and I would also argue that like bootstrapping automation doesn't have to be doesn't have to be a robot. There's so many other automation solutions out there.
We're talking to Matt Blackwell or Matt Blackwell Engineering. Is his last name Blackwell?
I don't know.
Blackwell?
I don't know if
it's just Blackwell Engineering. Well, I'm going to call him Matt Blackwell. We're talking to Mr. Blackwell here.
I know,
he's aware of other solutions.
I'm not just talking to him. I'm talking to the whole community, or like any other listeners that are paying attention. It's not to educate Matt. It's to say to anyone that's listening. I mean, adding a bar feeder to a lathe is automation. Spindle grippers is automation.
Salami slice method.
Salami slice method is automation, and that's like really cheap and easy to get going. So like, there's a lot of ways you can do things. Adding a tool changer, if you don't have a tool changer, is a form of automation. Like there's like, if you start out with a Tormach like we did, where we were manually changing out all of our tools and then buy a tool changer, you're adding automation to your process. So there's automation. That automation nomenclature can be applied to a lot of things. So not just robots.
So I think, to long story short, is the answer is it depends on your situation and your risk tolerance.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a universal answer.
It really is, unfortunately.
All right, next question. Patrick B. What would you purchase to start an ITAR shop from scratch for $100,000 or $200,000? What about $500,000? Well, it's going to depend on your situation and your risk tolerance.
Yeah.
If that's everything, if everything in your shop for 100, 200K, I'm probably getting a used Haas.
Yeah.
Get a VF2 or something like that for 50,000.
If it's 100,000, it's going to be all used everything. If it's 200,000, I might get some new stuff here and there depending on what it is. At 500,000, it's going to be pretty much all new. And that might only be 2 machines at 500, but it'd be like 2 new Haas's or Doosan's or something. It wouldn't be expensive stuff at that point, because you could spend 500K on one machine pretty easily, depending on what you're doing. So
yeah. How much are like the Matsura 420s? Do you know?
I don't know for sure, but I think they're approaching 7 figures.
Okay.
So, but I think that's 7 figures if you're getting an automated pallet pool. If they're by themselves,
yeah, that's what I meant.
If they're by themselves, maybe 500 could get one.
Okay,
or maybe even a little less, like 350 to 400.
At this point, like if I was, let's say my shop burned down, I was handed an insurance check to start over, I would start with a pallet pool 5-axis. Now, granted, I've put in some legwork to get there. Like at this point, I have the processes to run a pallet pool 3-axis at least somewhat efficiently, at least once the pallet pool is running. Like I'm not worried about programming that or anything like that for reliability. Obviously, I would have to learn some more 5-axis stuff other than what I did on my Pocket NC. But like I would just go straight to that if I was just given a bunch of money to get started and I already knew what I knew now. Pallet pool 5-axis.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, if I was given 100K, 200K, or 500K, honestly, we're talking about buying all the equipment outright. Honestly, if you have a good customer base and you're starting out and you're okay with a little bit of debt, you can pay some down payments and you can get some nice stuff.
That's true.
And kind of do what we've done, how we've grown.
Yeah, I guess we were looking at buying everything cash, but if you had 100,000 in cash, that's pretty darn good down payment for a couple machines.
Yeah, a couple machines. Yeah, so I mean that opens up a lot of options at that point, but with the caveat that you'd have to be profitable pretty quick, otherwise you're going to have payments that are going to outstrip that cash really fast.
Yeah.
So like you couldn't survive for very many months if you did it that way without having good customer base.
Yep. Because it's going to be hard to keep your expenses covered with Xometry at that point. Like,
yeah,
Pallet Pool 5-axis or not.
Yeah.
Did we cover, are you shopping for anything at IMTS? Did we ever actually address that question? I'm pretty sure I asked it.
Yeah, you asked it. I think the only thing I really said was the auto saw, and that's really the
maybe I didn't answer it.
Yeah, are you looking for anything at IMTS? Like equipment wise?
My number one thing I'm looking for is kind of ideas.
Yeah.
I want to find kind of new high-tech stuff. I want to find weird automation stuff. You know, when I was at IMTS and I found that blue photon stuff, like that affected how I made those carabiners. I didn't use the blue photon stuff, but I learned a lot from that. I want to see weird automation stuff. You know, is somebody making some super cheap vices that are cool that I could copy and make for myself or buy theirs? Are there people doing weird things with robots? Is there software stuff that Subtract can learn from? So I think I will mostly be there on a learning mission. At this point, I don't really want any machine payments. So, and at this point, I do not have the cash to, buy myself a Matsura or whatever. And even if I did, I wouldn't have space and power for it. Well, I have space. I have square footage, but I don't have ceiling clearance. So
you just need to saw your building's roof off and raise it a couple feet.
We've talked about this. This has been discussed.
I'm going to be looking heavily at Swiss lathes.
Nice.
And Swiss stuff in general, just because I need to get educated on that, because I'm going to end up with a Swiss machine of some kind in the future. There's just too many parts coming across my coming into my inbox these days that I'm going to need one.
Yeah. So, I still want to buy a really cheap Swiss and play with it some and then decide if I want to get one or not.
Yeah. I'd love automatic bandsaw, Swiss machine, Datron, and a production 5-axis machine are kind of the items I'm looking for.
Yeah. I do want to keep my eye out, again, for small 5-axis is something that's always on my list. Also, a Datron-like machine. Yeah. If there's something kind of similar with a high-speed spindle that's good for plate work, or actually even just a high-speed spindle machine that's smaller, I would keep my eye out for that.
Yeah.
There was a Makino that the guy who bought my Haas had that he was selling. And it looked really interesting. The only problem was it was like 104 inches tall, which not only doesn't fit in my door, but doesn't fit in my shop at all. But it had like a 30K RPM spindle, HSK, it weighed 30,000 pounds. It was a really cool machine. From Zachary with too many E's. When moving into higher horsepower 3-phase machines at a home shop, would you rather run them off a generator, some kind of converter? Within reason, most houses have only 200 amps going to them as far as I've seen, or move to a completely new shop with it coming right from the grid?
My favorite answer in the whole world, it depends.
It depends and on your situation and risk tolerance.
Yeah. But to tackle each one of those one at a time, for when would it make sense to use a generator? When would it make sense to do it as a 3-phase at your house? And when would it make sense to go to a new shop that's disconnected from your house? So I don't think a generator is a long-term solution for anything other than a short-term holdover.
Yeah, say unless you're like Jamie in South Africa with rolling blackouts all the time, like hard pass.
Yeah.
You have to pay for the generator. The generator's expensive. You have to pay for fuel for the generator. The fuel's expensive, and they're loud and annoying.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, there's not a single there's almost no instances in the modern USA that makes sense to do that. As for
the long term, sometimes short term things happen.
Yeah.
Hey, we have a machine showing up. We're going to run it for a generator on a month now while we wait for the electric company to get their act together. Yeah, absolutely go for it. But
yeah, but nothing that I would build a business on. For having a converter within your house on 200 amps, I would say that's totally doable, especially if you only have one machine, one or two machines, totally doable. I had a 200 amp service at my old shop, and we ran the Haas lathe and the Tormach 1100 MX, and I think with that and the house, I think we only topped out at like 50 or 60 amps of our 200 amps. So like, if you're not really pulling that much most of the time with a lot of those machines.
They way overrate them.
Especially if you went with like a Speedio or something 30 taper, you're not going to be pulling a whole lot of power. And so like I could easily see 2 or 3 or maybe 2 or 3 Speedios at home on or like a mini mill type machines at home. Once you start getting into the bigger ones that are like 60 to 100 amp machines, those I'd probably only get maybe one of on a 200 amp service with some sort of a phase converter. But I'd say any machine that's under probably 50 amps, like rated capacity, I would very comfortably put on a house with 200 amps. I mean, it depends on the house a little bit, but I'd be pretty comfortable doing that.
Yep. I agree.
So, and then if you want to go, go ahead.
I say the last option is moving to a new shop. And I mean, there's going to be a time and a place for that. Absolutely. Like I said, the thing that'll drive me into a new shop here is my ceiling heights. And also getting 3-phase here was going to be like $60,000. So at that point in this area, real estate is so cheap that is a significant portion of a shop purchase. And so it'd make more sense for me to buy something.
Yeah.
I suppose renting is also a thing. I don't know why I've never considered that, but I have never considered that.
Because it's a monthly payment and you don't want to have monthly payments.
Exactly. that is exactly it. Because I'm allergic to monthly payments. So, yeah, so I would buy something. I would still take a mortgage on it, but that feels different than renting.
Yeah. And to put a little bit more of a financial twist on a question like this, I would say I would keep it at my house until it's large enough that I could do that as my full-time job. And then I would start planning on moving to a new shop. Like when we first got started, we were in a garage shop, and we were able to do that until we got to the point where the business had grown enough to where we could afford moving to a new shop. So like it's much easier to bring a bigger machine to your house and not have to worry about all the costs associated with moving outside of your primary residence. And so like if you're in a financially constrained state, I would try to make it work at home as long as I could before moving to another shop as well.
Yeah. And then at some point you'll get driven out of your home shop either from power or, HOA or wife or whatever, maybe
Space.
You need to establish some work-life balance. Maybe you just need more room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that'll eventually happen. Like I said, here for me, it's going to be ceiling. And honestly, realistically, probably work-life balance is the other reason I would move first, to kind of keep things a little bit more separated than I do now.
Do you find work-life balance is harder now that the business is kind of growing?
Well, when I'm teaching, yeah, the teaching taking up so much time, especially when I'm driving so much, is problematic. We'll just say, because I spend so much time not here, and then I come home, and then I'm rushed to get work done. And then my family's like, "Hey, are we going to see you?" Now, fortunately, I've started the transition of that out. That's kind of done November-ish, where I'm not doing that much teaching. I told him I would finish all the classes that I have now, and I have one class that's every Friday until like April. So I'll be doing that class for a long time. And I might still I could probably be talked into teaching a lean class or a quality class if that came up. But the teaching will be gone. I will get many, many, many hours back in my life.
Well, fair enough. That's about all I got.
So expanding on that, in terms of like this shop and work-life balance, sometimes it's great for work-life balance because when it's slow, I can just go inside and watch a show with the kids or whatever, or go take a walk with them. Sometimes it's detrimental to the shop because like, my wife will come in here and borrow tools and then not put them back. Or we'll just get like a lawnmower parked in the middle of my shop. And then that's just kind of in the way and more stuff I have to clean up. So like sometimes there's some logistical challenges there of things that come into my shop or go out of my shop that I don't do. One of the problems I have in the shop is like if I'm gone for a week teaching, the shop, it will not have been in the shop once and I'll come back and it'll be messier. That is not a problem that normal shops have to deal with, and it does drive me insane, especially as I've kind of gone down this lean thing. But the flip side of that is, when I'm just focused on Audacity, like I don't, unless I'm pushed on a deadline, like I don't set alarms in the morning. Like I wake up, I drink some coffee, I eat breakfast, I come out when I come out. Sometimes that's 7:00, sometimes it's 10. And that's great. And then I work as long as I want until I get tired, and then I go to bed. And again, if in the middle of the day, I want to go hang out with my kids, I go hang out with my kids. Or if, my wife wants to go to the grocery and we can all go together, like that's fun. That's great. Great family moments. I love that. That's why I like the home shop. But there's also the flip side of some of the kind of professionalism and efficiency. And like, if I had a customer, like I couldn't have a customer really come by here.
Yeah.
I also don't want customers to come by here. I don't invite customers here. I don't, do shop tours for them. I don't even give out my phone number. Customers are not allowed to have my phone number.
Can I send kiosks your way?
Yeah. That would be fun. They'll find me at IMTS, don't you worry. The worst thing is I probably am a good customer for them. Or they are a good vendor for me, but
once you get on,
that will probably be one of my next major purchases. I suspect my next major purchase will be in the inspection department, probably a vision system. So I will be looking at those at IMTS as well.
We have a vision system on our future purchase list as well for a lot of these smaller parts that we're doing in production, high volume. Be a lot easier, a lot quicker.
I need to figure out probe calibration too for my machine. I want a way of calibrating the probe inside the machine automatically itself, because with the new Mongo 2.0 or Mongo 2.0, I just combined quoting 2.0 and Mongo. With the new, I'm calling it the Mongo production system, which is a joke on the Toyota production system. It's just that with more Velociraptors. Anyway, with this, I also worked on my post-processor for the machine fairly heavily. So now the post-processor has things like washdown cycles built in, more intelligent tool breakage detection. So like one of the things that has driven me crazy in the past is how Fusion handles tool breakage detection, where you have to go and turn it on inside the tool is like a flag in the tool library.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my post, I have a checkbox that just says, ignore the Fusion tool library flag. And you just can put a comma separated list of the tools that you wanted to check. Or you can use the flags and tell it the ones that you want to ignore or add an extra. Like there's very granular controls on that stuff and like when you do it. But with that, I got all of the inspection stuff working. So now I can kind of use my machine in CMM mode, and the pallet scheduler then attaches the inspection report that comes out of that to the pallet digitally. So in theory, if I got all that stuff working smoothly and efficiently, I could have in-process inspection records to the part, as long as I could keep track of the part after it comes off the pallet, because I don't have systems for that worked out yet. But to make that work, you need to have really good calibration on your spindle probe, and you need to have records of that calibration. And I don't have that yet. So I need to figure out how to do that, because I don't know how to calibrate that probe remotely, like without running through the probing routine. And I'm not sure the Tormach macros have run out compensation, which it might need. So that's future problems.
Mm-hmm.
First problems is get some Ritalin for Mongo so he doesn't get distracted when programs are running. Some Mongo coffee.
Well, would that be a pet treat?
It would be a pet treat. There's a couple different varieties, I hear. Some of which can be dangerous, but that's book 8 spoilers, so we're not going to go into that. How do we end the podcast?
Music, and then I say things. All right, this is the part where I say things.
I did the music.
We have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you are not, so that we can get monetized. Remember, please like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, a neighbor, a random stranger. Tell someone at the gas station while you're filling up. Maybe we'll find some more machinists at a gas station filling up. Or people that enjoy this type of content. All right, guys. I think that's about all we got. So,
okay, bye.
One of a kind.
357.
And how many do we need? 500?
We need 1,000.
Oh, we need that. Oh, wow.
Wait, what's what's the within tolerance at?
Now we just listen to the music while AJ looks this up.
No, I'm looking up Dylan.
Oh.
He's at 882. All right, that's our goal. We need to beat within tolerance on YouTube.
Yeah, that's not going to happen for a while.
He's got us beat on podcasts, but I feel like we can take him on YouTube. This is like my home turf.
That's fair. We'll give him a run for his money. We'll try. After throwing down the gauntlet at Dylan on YouTube, we're gonna peace out.
It's okay. No one listens this far in the podcast.
That's true. Except this will be the one time that like people do.
Yeah.
Or we'll get a random message from Dylan that'll be like, I see you.
I listen. I actually didn't know he still posted on YouTube. I thought he had like 2 episodes and then gave up.
I thought he started doing it more because we were doing it, or just because people in general were starting to do it more.
Yeah, it was definitely our fault. We'll go with that.
Well, I mean,
I will say our YouTube videos get more views than his YouTube videos do on average. He has a couple that seem to have kind of taken off, but on average, we're beating him on YouTube views.